Hello and welcome to my Legion Beta Assassination Rogue Proving Grounds Gold video. Let's go over the talents. These are the talents. I took Hemo to get the increase of bleed damage. Elaborate planning may be good, but it's hard to say. You're going to use a lot of finishers, but I don't know, 12% versus 25% for 20 seconds. Master Poisoner I think is still pretty weak. Maybe good for AoE. I use Night Stalker even though I didn't really go into stealth much. It's kind of my bad, I'm not used to playing Rogue that much. Vigor I felt like is just 100% necessary because you need the energy. There's a lot of times if you take the wrong talents in Assassination where you can just feel starved, and so Vigor for me was just huge. You don't really have much that you would want to pool your combo points. It just feels a whole lot slower. Deeper Stratagem I could see maybe in some places where that would be useful, but Vigor to me overall just felt stronger. Leeching Poison, I mean this entire tier is not relevant. Thuggy, I like Thuggy because it allows you to keep applying Garrote every time you kill an enemy, so it's just like an extra dot that you keep up on your main target. It reminds me of the old Shadow Priest days when you only had one Devouring Plague you could keep up on a target. Just an extra little bit of damage on that particular target. If I were to use these a bit more, this might come into play, but I don't. Internal Bleeding, yeah, I don't like using Kidney Shot in a PvE situation. I had tried using Agonizing Poison for a couple of the runs. It didn't work out for me. Alacrity is too punishing when it falls off, because there's going to be times at the end of rounds where you just have nothing to kill, so it's just going to fall off. At least it seems that way to me. It's up to 20 seconds. I feel like that used to be lower, but I could be wrong. Exsanguinate was great because it gave me an on-demand burst, especially with some of the monkeys that go the banana tossers. Sometimes you need that. I used it on the Shaws quite a bit too. This last one, again, because I felt like I really needed energy, I went with Venom Rush. Without it, some of the AoE situations where you have those group of little, whatever the carrot things are, I don't remember what their name are, in the middle, and you've got the two mystics on the side, like, I feel like you have to have more energy in those AoE situations. Marked for Death, I tried on a couple runs. It didn't work out for me because it's great to have that on-demand 5 combo points per target. Like you go, apply my Rupture, and then move on to more interesting abilities. But it was just a pain, and it didn't. I wasn't able to use it as successfully as I was with Venom Rush, mainly for the AoE situations. Death from Above, I don't know enough about how to use that successfully. It feels like there's a couple points in the fight and the rounds where it might be good for an AoE, where it does that whole 43k damage to all enemies, and you envenom your target. I could see it being useful, but I don't know. I just didn't even try it. Venom Rush just was the easier win for me. So those are the talents that I went with, and I'll show you the run now. Thanks. So my disclaimer first, I don't play a rogue normally, so in any case that I don't play optimally, I apologize. A couple talking points. I did level the Assassination Rogue from 100 to 110 on the beta. This rogue that I'm using right now is just one of the PvP character on that realm that allows you to create the 110 rogue with the fully powered artifact weapon. Maybe that's cheating, but it's really nice to have all those abilities. Some of them come into play at certain points. Overall, I would say Assassination has some issues. I don't know if these are things that are existing on live. They very well could be. Low AoE damage. It feels like you have the option of taking Agonizing Poison, but you really need instant poison for those cases where you do have to do AoE. Additionally, you have really cruddy energy regeneration if you're not cross-dotting, which felt weird to do as a melee class. I'm used to playing a Shadow Priest primarily on live, So I was used to the concept, but it feels weird having to run to the next target or shadow step over there to apply my rupture and my hemorrhage. That being said, without doing the cross-dotting, it was very difficult to complete gold. I'm not sure if you can, really, without better gear. I feel like the cooldown situation for Assassination is also very limited. You have Vendetta, which, thanks to some of the artifact weapon abilities, makes things quite a bit interesting. One of the abilities shoots these little daggers over, I think, 20 seconds that do somewhere in the order, magnitude of 500,000 to 1,000,000 damage total over that 20 seconds. But that's like a minute 30 cooldown, and you do 20% extra damage, but there's really nothing else you can do if you don't use that. If you didn't take Exsanguinate, like, it's really awkward. That being said, there are other specs of Rogue. The only one that I've played is Outlaw. I think it used to be called Combat, which has some options for cooldowns, but that one is so RNG in terms of, your roll the bones outcomes that I can't stand it. So Assassination is great for me because it's consistent damage, but it definitely is awkward when you need to burst something down and you don't have a way to get any energy back, and you're just kind of sitting there while Vendetta's on cooldown. So that's why I felt like Exsanguinate was really the key piece that allowed me to move forward in these. I was getting to places where, like, the AoE, like on this round, where I start doing some cross-dotting that helps me get my regeneration up. And then, they got to heal off. I could have tried to prevent it, sapped them, kidney shot at them, but overall I felt like it was just worth it for me to let them get a heal off on a mini target that didn't really matter, and just try to take them down before they got their casts off. Venomous Wounds, again, playing a huge part in getting that energy regen so I can actually do something. That's probably the most disappointing part about playing Assassination Rogue, is that sometimes it just feels kind of slow and you don't have much to do except for watch your white tags. I mean, that's nice in certain raid encounters, I'm sure, because you can just sit around and kind of pay attention. There's no variety to the rotation. There's no real procs that occur. I see that as potentially a problem. I think on live they had a Dispatch, which I think was an execute sort of ability, and without that, it just feels very flat. But that's not to be, some people might enjoy that. They don't have to play whack-a-mole with their abilities. To me, it makes it a little bit less interesting, but overall, it seems pretty strong on single target fights, and some of the dungeons I've done, I typically end up topping it. The artifact weapon ability, I guess, just kind of plays into how you're normally, I guess, supposed to use in Venom. It's just like another button you press before you press in Venom. You apply Kingsbane, and then the way it works is that as you apply more lethal poisons, it increases the dot damage from Kingsbane, because it applies a dot. It doesn't feel like a huge deal when you pop it. I feel like the artifact weapon, when you use it, should make you feel a bit more awesome, like, oh, I'm using this thing of ancient power. But it doesn't really. It's like just a little mini cooldown. I wouldn't even call it burst, because, I don't know, it doesn't feel noticeable when you pop it. Like, I don't see health bars start to melt. Just me. Some of the other classes get cooler abilities, in my opinion. Even though I think the backstory on these daggers, these are the Kingslayer daggers, used to kill King Lane, I believe, by Garona when she's mind-controlled. I don't know all the lore, but that's what I gathered from the movie. Although in the movie, I don't think she's actually mind-controlled. She's just... he asks her to kill him. But, sorry, spoiler alert. Jeez. Although, if you haven't seen it by now, it's too late. So here again, cross-dotting. I couldn't kill the monkey quite as fast as I wanted to, but I make up for it. I probably should use sprint a bit more on, again, lack of familiarity with the rogue. I didn't use any of the flasks. They have a flask guitar, I think it's called, in the beta in the city, where you can buy flasks and I believe probably food to buff yourself, but I didn't bother. This is just pretty much pure Season 1 gear with the fully powered artifacts. Here I realized, oh, the Shaw's coming out and I'm not on it, so I freaked out and I popped a lot of my cooldowns, and I was able to luckily get them down before I had to use one of the berserking buffs on the floor there. I probably could have been fine, because I think there's only one Shaw in round 10, I believe. Overall, Rogue feels, you know, fun. Slow, but fun to me. I'm considering maining it in Legion, just because I'd like to play something melee, although there's going to be an influx of Demon Hunters, so finding a spot might be a little awkward. I haven't tried Feral Rogue, so I don't know how it compares. If, you know, Feral Rogue, I think, fills a similar role in terms of being a dot agility, you know, leather class. It looks more complicated with the Tiger's Fury and everything, but I haven't put the time in. I do plan on releasing more videos of different specs going through this. Like, if I can actually do the combat version of this, I'll definitely give that a shot. Combat feels very, very RNG to me, and it's just a matter of time before I get it. I've had a couple runs into the 10 area, but then I just fall flat, so it is what it is. So here we go, take out the Banshee, and that should be basically it. There we go. Alright, thank you for watching.
See me for your next try.